إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله أدى الأمانة وبلغ الرسالة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وتركها على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, it is no secret that nowadays this ummah is going through extremely difficult times. And there are conflicts that run throughout the Middle East and that continue to increase in viciousness and numbers. And the thing is, when we see what is going on here in the West, when we see what is happening in Palestine and in Syria and Egypt and Iraq and Bangladesh and Somalia and Ethiopia and all these countries in the world, you can go on forever. So you can even argue that there are conflicts here in the US. Everywhere you look, there is dhulm and oppression toward Muslims. And one of the major issues nowadays is that as Muslims here in the West, many of us have become nothing more than political commentators. The way we find ourselves attached to our brothers and sisters in Islam is that we offer our commentary about their situation in our small, comfortable gatherings. And the problem is that many times there's very little dua to go with that. And another component that is usually missing more than anything else is the failure to acknowledge our role in contributing to the appearance of dhulm, oppression, and injustice on a global scene. Which is something that is really interesting because, sometimes we pay so much attention to the zalim on TV. We pay so much attention to the oppression that we see on TV that we forget to look in the mirror sometimes. We're always looking at what this zalim is doing, what that zalim is doing, but we forget to look in the mirror and to think about what the zalim in the mirror is doing. We're always saying, oh, this president, or this prime minister, or even this boss at work, or this teacher is oppressing tens, hundreds, thousands, sometimes millions of people. And we forget that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask us about any act of injustice that we have committed to just one small individual. And on the Day of Judgment, that act of injustice that I may have done to one individual will mean a whole lot more to me than any dhulm that is happening to millions of people. Because that's me. That has to do with me, and that's something that I'm responsible for. And I have no right to talk about the dhulm of other people if I myself have issues with dhulm. And the thing is, many people don't comprehend the seriousness of this issue of dhulm and oppression. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in a hadith Qudsi, يا عبادي إني حرمت الظلم على نفسي وجعلته بينكم محرما. O my servants, I have made dhulm, I have made oppression and injustice haram upon myself, and I have made it haram between you. So do not wrong one another. And the thing is, this is a very profound hadith, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have easily just said, إني حرمت الظلم. I have made dhulm, oppression, haram. He could have easily just stopped there. But he didn't. Instead he said, I have made it haram upon myself. And think about it, subhanAllah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made dhulm, oppression, haram upon himself, who are we then? Who are we to engage in acts of dhulm? Who are we to be unjust? And I'm talking about the small acts of injustice here too, not just the big ones. Dhulm isn't just killing someone in the streets. That's a major form of dhulm, no doubt about it. But I'm talking about the small ones here too. Dhulm that you can find in family affairs and businesses, between brothers and sisters in Islam. Dhulm as in backbiting, gossiping, slandering, fighting, and so on and so forth. These are all acts of injustices that many of us deal with on a daily basis. But we need to know that on the day, many times we do these actions and we think that it's okay, they're just small. But we need to know that on the Day of Judgment, everything counts. And we will be asked about every small act of injustice that we have ever committed. That's why one time during the Battle of Badr, when Rasulullah ﷺ, he was organizing the army, he was using a walking stick to organize them. And so he noticed a Sahabi who wasn't standing in the right place. He was standing a bit too far ahead of the line of soldiers. And so he told the Sahabi, move back. And the Sahabi didn't hear him. And so he told him again, move back. And again this man didn't hear him. So the third time Rasulullah used his stick and he poked the man in the stomach and he told him, move back. And the Sahabi looked at Rasulullah and he said, O Prophet of Allah, you hurt me. You hurt me. And so think about it. If any of us was in this position, was in the position of Rasulullah ﷺ, what would we have done? Half of us would have immediately turned to the guy and asked him, what, are you serious? We're about to go to war. You're going to be attacked by spears and swords and arrows and maces, and this little poke with a stick hurt you? How would you man up? But what did Rasulullah ﷺ, the best of mankind, do? He gave him the stick and he told him, take your revenge. Take your right from me. And so this wasn't enough for the Sahabi. He said, O Rasulullah, when you hit me, I had my stomach exposed. You have your stomach covered. Expose your stomach so that I can hit you just as you hit me. And so the captain of the Muslim army, Sayyid Walidi Adam, the best of mankind, exposed his stomach so that this foot soldier, the Sahabi, could hit him and take his revenge. This is to show that no matter how tense the situation you are in is, there still needs to be justice. You still can't be unjust. It is to show us that just because you are in a high position, just because someone is in a high position, or they can't oppress someone who they think is lower than them, or who is lower than them. Because that is haram, that is injustice, that is dhulm. And so this Sahabi, he didn't hit Rasulullah. Instead, he went and he kissed the stomach of Rasulullah and he said, O Prophet of Allah, this is what I wanted. And then he forgave Rasulullah for hitting him. And so the point that I wanted to get to is that when this man asked for his right, Rasulullah ﷺ immediately gave him the stick and told him, here, hit me, take your right. And it's to show us, to teach us that even the tiniest bit of dhulm is bad. It's to show us that no matter how small your actions may seem, because Rasulullah didn't mean to hurt the Sahabi. He didn't mean to hurt him. He was just trying to divert his attention. I'm talking to you. Move back. But just no matter how small it seems, as long as the person affected by it is hurt in a negative way, then that is dhulm. Even in fact in Islam, if you have a prisoner of war, you are to treat them with the best of treatment. Feed them the best of food, clothe them the best of clothes, and if you are even to lay one hand on them, the only kafara is to free them. The only way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive you is by freeing that prisoner of war. Because you've crossed the bounds now. You have put yourself in a position that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never gave you. And so if that's the case with a prisoner of war, and if that's the case with an animal, because we have narrations where Rasulullah ﷺ said that people will enter Jahannam because they have mistreated an animal. So if that is the case with a prisoner of war and with an animal, then what about with our family members? What about when you hit or wrong your brothers and sisters in Islam, your parents, your friends, all of these people? What about when you harm humanity? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made dhulm and oppression such a serious issue for prisoners of war and animals, then what about us? What about your dear brothers and sisters in Islam? And we really need to think about this because there's a huge problem. Many times, we separate Islam from social justice. And this is a grave mistake. And the problem is that many people, they think that, you know what, I do many ibadat, so khalas, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has me covered. I can do some small acts of injustice, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive me. But that's not the case. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one time he asked the Sahaba, أَتَدْرُونَ مَنِ الْمُفْلِسِ, do you know who the bankrupt person is? And they told him, الْمُفْلِسُ فِينَا مَنْ لَا دِرْهَمْ لَهُ وَلَا دِينَارٍ. The bankrupt one is he who does not have any money or property. And so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, no. الْمُفْلِسُ مِنْ أُمَّتِي مَنْ يَأْتِي يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ بِصَلَاةٍ وَزَكَاةٍ وَصِيَامٍ وَيَأْتِي وَقَدْ شَتَمَ هَذَا وَقَذَفَ هَذَا وَأَكَلَ دَمَ هَذَا وأكل مال هذا وسفك دم هذا وضرب هذا فيعطي هذا من حسناته وهذا من حسناته فإن فنيت حسناته من قبل أن يقضي ما عليه أخذ من خطاياهم فطرحت عليه ثم طرح في النار. He said that the bankrupt person is he who comes on the day of judgment with his siyam and his salah and his zakat and all of these good actions, but at the same time he comes and he's insulted this person, backbited another, slandered someone, took money from someone, shed blood, fought with someone, and he comes with all of these bad things. Until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have the people that he wronged literally come to him on the day of judgment and take from his hasanat. And they will continue to take from him until they have earned their right back, until he has repaid his debt. And if his hasanat run out, then they will begin to give him from their sayyi'at. And they will continue to give him from their sins until eventually this man who has been praying and fasting and giving sadaqah and zakah his entire life is casted into the hellfire. Why? Because of the dhulm, because of the oppression, because he hurt people. We need to think about this very seriously. My dear brothers and sisters, stop looking at the zalim on TV and trying to fix him. And try to start with yourself if you are guilty. And try to fix any problem that you have now in this dunya before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes care of you for the people that you have oppressed. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in a hadith, اتقوا دعوة المظلوم فإنها ليس بينها وبين الله حجاب يرفعها الله فوق الغمام ويقول وعزتي وجلالي لأنصرنك ولو بعد حين. Fear the dua of the oppressed, for indeed there is no veil between it and Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised it to the heavens and says, I swear by my might and dignity, I will indeed give you victory, even if it's after a while. Meaning that if someone is oppressed, whether they're a Muslim or not, brothers and sisters, pay attention, they don't even have to be a Muslim. All they have to do is raise their hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask Him for help. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them victory and will have them take their right from the people who oppress them. And I just want to remind everyone today, don't think of dhulm, oppression, as just hitting someone or taking or stealing someone's money. Dhulm can be a text that you send, a word that you say, even a look that you give someone. As long as it affects whoever you're saying it to or giving it to in a negative way, that is dhulm. That is oppression. And so we need to fix any problem that we have. If we are oppressing anyone or we know someone who's being oppressed, help them out and fix it before the akhirah. Because, in fact, one time I heard a story of a brother who he took a trip in a taxi. And when he got to his destination, he didn't have enough money. Like he was a couple of dollars short. So he told the taxi driver, you know what? Khalas, I'll pay you back on the day of judgment. I'll pay you back on the day of judgment. And this taxi driver, he happened to be a Muslim. And so he told that man words that will stay with me until I die. He told him, تفرقش معي بس ادفع اليوم أرخص لك. He said, it doesn't matter to me. But you know what? Pay today and it'll be a lot cheaper for you. Think about it, my dear brothers and sisters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's justice is so great. And His punishment for those who are unjust is the same, if not greater. So clear any problems or debts that you have here in this dunya. For wallahi thumma wallahi thumma wallahi, the day of judgment is scary enough without us making problems for ourselves. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us and have mercy upon us if we have ever oppressed anyone in our lives. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, last Sunday was the anniversary of An-Nakba, the day that a Jewish state was established in Palestine. And from that, many injustices were born and continue to exist until today. And something that we need to understand is that within Masjid al-Aqsa being the third holiest place in Islam, it should be an issue for all Muslims, not just the Palestinians, that it is occupied and many people are allowed to pray there. And the thing is, this is one of the greatest acts of dhulm, the greatest acts of injustice of the century. And it is a must on all of us as a Muslim Ummah to try our best to change the situation and to remove the oppression upon our brothers and sisters there and anywhere where Muslims are being oppressed. And so how will we do this? How is it possible for us to change the situation of the Muslim Ummah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not change the state of an ummah, of a nation, until they change what is in themselves. Now the question is, how can we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save this ummah from oppression and to help the people who are being oppressed if we ourselves have issues with oppression and dhulm? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Insur akhaka zaliman aw mazluman." Give your brother victory, whether he is an oppressor or he is being oppressed. To fix this problem, we need to work on both ends. If someone is being oppressed, you need to help them, and if you know someone who is oppressing, you need to try to stop them and fix them and help them out. And this is a group effort. To truly change the situation of the Muslim Ummah, we all need to change. We all need to try our best to change and remove this dhulm that is in our Muslim Ummah. And only then will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala change the situation that we are in. Remember the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam in the rain. Bani Israel was going through a drought. And Musa alayhi salam and his followers began to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask for rain. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't send down the rain. And so Musa, he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why is it that we prayed and you still didn't send down the rain, O Allah? And Allah told him that there is one individual, there is one man among your entire nation who is a sinner. And that is why I have not sent down the rain. And so Musa alayhi salam, he goes to his people and he tells him, whoever among you is a sinner, let him leave now. Let him leave. And so no one left. And they prayed again, and the rain came. So Musa alayhi salam, he asked Allah, "Oh Allah, we prayed the first time, and you didn't give us the rain because you said there is a sinner among us. But nobody left, and when we prayed the second time, you sent the rain. Why?" And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded, that person has made tawbah, has asked for forgiveness, and I have forgiven him. Subhanallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala held back the rain from this ummah that was going through a drought. He held back the rain from them because of one individual who was a sinner. And then later he sent down the rain because just that one individual made tawbah. And this is to show that all of us must change, or at least try to change, before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will change the situation that we are in. So brothers and sisters, let's begin now. If you know about an oppression going on, or you are an oppressor yourself, change it, stop that. Try your best to fix the situation that we are in. Be the change that you want to affect this ummah, and make a lot of dua. And inshallah, with all of that, we will regain our victory from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من أن نظلم أو نظلم. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك أن نظلم أو نظلم. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك أن نظلم أو نظلم. اللهم ارفع الظلم عن جميع إخواننا في كل مكان. اللهم إنا نستنصرك لإخواننا في فلسطين وفي مصر وفي سوريا وفي كل مكان يذكر اسمك الكريم يا الله. اللهم تقبل شهداءهم وارحم موتاهم وانصرهم على الظالمين يا رب العالمين. ربنا اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إلى يوم الدين بيدك يا أرحم الراحمين. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر. وأنت يا أخي أقم الصلاة.